Being in the health insurance business is kind of natural to go into the Medicare business, kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I was around when they first brought Medicare Advantage plans out.
Yep.
So that
back in 2006.
Yep, that was a big deal. And you looked at the plan, it's like, I can't believe this is the real plan.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Agent Spotlight podcast with National Insurance Markets. My name is Matthew Gaus. I'm going to be the host today. With me, I have two very special guests. I have Dick Pardee, owner of Richmond Insurance Agency, and Karen Ryen. I mean, you guys have been working together we were just talking right before we went on air, for 12 years now.
Yep.
And the entire time that I've been with National Insurance Markets, which has been fantastic at that point. So, right now, just give me a little bit of background just about you and the agency. Dick, I want to start with you in particular because, you've been in the industry for a long time.
Yep.
You said you started when you were 29 years old. So, yes. Give me a little bit of background just about how you got started and kind of got here today.
Actually, my cousin had an insurance agency in Punxsutawney, and I talked him into hiring me. So I went to work for him, and that's where I met your grandfather. That's how I got hooked up with National Insurance Markets.
Yeah.
He'd come up to our office like every 2 or 3 months and explain to us what he was doing and what the new stuff was, and we loved him, and so that's how we got hooked up with National Insurance Markets.
That's awesome. So whenever you first started too, were you guys in the health insurance industry at that time?
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay. Things were a lot different back in those days. So there was no UPMC health plan. There was only Highmark Blue Cross and a couple other off-the-wall companies. And when you wanted to quote a group, you had a book rate. You open it up, and that's how you gave them the rates. That's it.
And you can still do a little bit of that today, but it's definitely it's definitely moved away from that.
Yes.
So for anybody also that is new to National Insurance Markets or just listening to us in general, so a little bit more background about like our agency. We're third generation family business, which for sure.
Yep.
But so my grandfather started the business all the way back in 1979, and then both of my parents joined after college. So my mom joined, I think, in like 84. My dad was like sometime around 86 or so, and they're still here, which is crazy. They're coming up on almost 80 years of combined experience now at this point, which is crazy. I started back in 2014, so right out of college, and still here. have not left, and we've seen a lot of that change and growth from the book rates to things being a lot more electronic now, and it's just been crazy just in those 11 years, or even like the last 5 years, right?
Yeah, it's very much changed.
Yeah. And also then I want to point out for anybody else also that's going to be listening, that's especially in your guys' area and is looking for help too. You guys are in the Rochester Mills area in Indiana County in PA.
Yep.
Now, has your office always been there?
Well, when I worked for my cousin, it was in Punxsutawney, and then after several years, we moved it to Rochester Mills.
Okay.
So me and my other cousin moved it there and took it over.
Gotcha. Okay.
Started it up.
So how long have you had your agency, like where you're at now?
I'd say about 32 years.
32 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to think about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I guess also for everybody who's now listening, Dick will now be retiring at the end of this year.
Yep.
So congratulations just in general to
Thank you.
A very long and successful career. I mean, want to get it out really kind of like right from the start. I mean, it's been amazing working with you.
Thank you. It's amazing working with you guys. You've helped us a lot. I mean, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know what we'd be doing. So that's
awesome to hear.
Yes.
It's really, really awesome to hear. So from there, I want to talk to you, Karen. So right before we hopped on, I know you had said you had started about 12 years ago.
Yes.
How did that whole process come about? And also from there, like, what were you doing before that?
I came kind of from the other aspect of health insurance where I worked in the medical field. Okay. So for 14 years, I was working in a doctor's office and a physical therapy office, and I was doing the billing and I was doing the authorizations. So I think that kind of helped me, to understand a lot on this side whenever we're talking to our clients and explaining things. And then I was between jobs and just kind of looking for something. And I've known Dick forever. And he was looking for somebody and he hired me. And it kind of just went from there. I was his secretary and assistant. And then he just said to me one day, he's like, what do you think about, would you be interested in taking over whenever I retire? Yeah. And I think I kind of looked at him like, what? And then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I think I would. And so even you helped me out whenever it came time to get licensed. You pointed me in the right direction, how to get started on that. And so here we are, now it's creeping up on us. So,
right. Yeah. So, and because I can't remember fully now at this point. So obviously, please enlighten me. When do you think that transition and that conversation kind of started between you guys for, hey, I'm going to be retiring. This is kind of when I'm thinking about doing that. And then also, hey, what do you think about actually kind of stepping in and taking everything over?
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Took me that long to talk her into it.
You've just been hanging around for 6 years until she finally said yes. Yeah. You finally wore her down.
Don't believe him. No, it was about then. And then you brought it up again about 2 years ago, a little bit more firm on his thoughts of when he wanted to retire. Yeah. And I think you were even hesitant about, he wasn't even sure if he was going to go 65 or 67. And it was about a year ago and he's like, no, I'm going to go at 65. So that's when we started getting serious about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good thing we got you guys into Medicare so that way you can, write your own policy and everything.
Yeah. Right? I don't even get paid on my own policy.
That's awesome. So, 2 years ago, really started getting a bit more serious about the transition and everything. Yep. For the longest time, right, like you said, you were secretary helping out really just with everything. I mean, you were doing...
She ran the office.
Yeah, right? Yep. I mean, for the most part, obviously we had our relationship, we talked a bunch, but I've been mostly talking back and forth with Karen for the last 11 years at this point.
Yeah, I felt like I knew you, like it was when we finally got to meet in person. Well, it was more on a Zoom, one of your trainings, whenever I finally actually saw you, and then today.
Yeah. So this is actually the first time that we've ever met in person, which is awesome. This is another big reason why I have loved doing these too. It's just, getting people down here to talk in person and meet in person. I mean, one, we don't see that all the time now. You can do so much over Zoom and Teams and the phone just in general, which, has had its advantages. We'll talk about the trainings and everything that I put on. I wouldn't be able to do those without those types of tools.
Right.
But it's been awesome, having other agents down to our office and, get to talk to them on the one-on-one basis like this and really, get to know their story, them kind of talk to us, share how we've been able to help them grow and everything, and actually do it, face to face. And then, with this, actually being able to meet in person too. Yep. So yeah, it's been great. So question for you again is, 2 years ago, right? You're starting the transition is probably the best way to be able to describe it. How was the transition from, secretary, office manager, do just about everything to also, being an actual agent and licensed agent to go out and write policies now too?
It was definitely nerve-wracking because I was more well-versed on the penny and the individual stuff. And then when I started learning more about the Medicare stuff, I would come to Dick and I'd be like, and he was very good, he was very good at relaxing me and be like, you know what, you got this, you understand it, you're good. Yeah. And So it was, there was a little bit of nerve there. And then as I tested last year and got my first testing out of the way and got that all done, and then going through it again this year, I'm becoming more relaxed and thinking, okay, all right, I can do this. I can do this. I got it.
Awesome. How do you think we were also able to help you kind of through that whole transition?
You know what? You guys are amazing, honestly, because I have never, ever felt that there's ever a dumb question, or I've always tried to think it through myself and use you as, okay, hey, Matt, this is what I'm thinking. Am I right? And you're like, yeah, you're spot on. Or no, this is what you should do. And that's been so beneficial, that I can always come to you and say, hey, what are we thinking here? Or this is like a different situation I've never encountered. And you were great about it, and Ruth and everybody.
That's awesome. I mean, that's really, I mean, that is what we're here for. I mean, it's truly, that's it. That is what our business is. I mean, we have agents that go out and we offer a number of different products, whether that's on the Medicare side, the individual side, life insurance, annuities, things along those lines. Our main focus is definitely in the Medicare space in particular, but we're here to work with somebody from whatever standpoint they're starting at. With you, literally point A. Right. Being able to take you from the absolute very beginning to getting you actually trained and tested and licensed, to actually going out and writing business and all that, to someone like yourself who was already in the industry for a number of years, and were able to just kind of come over to us and start working with us at a different starting point. Right. So I mean, it's been great in all of that, and it just kind of, I think, kind of goes to show too, just we are kind of there for everybody. Right. And it doesn't matter where you're at. I think that's kind of the main point that I really want to get across there, is that, anybody, no matter what point they're at, we can definitely help them. And it's just a matter of, what they have kind of going on at that starting point to, go from there and legitimately grow their book of business at that point.
And we know you guys are busy too. And, you never act like, that we're bothering you when you're calling on here. You always take time and help us out and always get back to us. So we really appreciate that.
No, that's awesome. Because, I mean, it is true, right? I mean, just like, you guys see it on the individual client side, right? Like, that client would say whenever they call in, like, they're not your only client.
Right.
Same type of thing, right? Like, we see it on for everything. We have our own individual clients too. And then, we don't only work with one agent or one agency and everything. So, we really do truly try to make ourselves available as much as possible to help guide and really take anybody to whatever level they want to be at.
Well, I think even just when you started introducing the monthly online trainings, that took it to a whole new level for me, because not only was I watching and going through the trainings because I tried not to miss them, but you also had other agents on there, and they would have questions, and I'd be like, oh, that was really interesting because I know what they're talking about, and I've had that situation. And, so you kind of fed off of that when you would listen to everybody else's questions. So, and new things come up each time, even though I haven't really used Connecture a lot. It kind of thrilled me that you celebrated with me the first time I put an application. I'm like, hey, Matt, and you were happy, and I was happy. And I said, listen, those trainings helped, and it was great.
That's awesome. For anybody else who's definitely, new to us in general, that is absolutely something that has been brand new for 2025. Was we kind of instituted some monthly trainings and demos for different things that we do. So one, like you mentioned, is Connecture, which is the quoting and enrollment platform that we offer for Medicare through us. Anybody who's a licensed agent through National Insurance Markets get to use it for free. And I do a monthly training session on it. So at least once a month, I go through and do a full demo of it, which I'm really glad to hear that that's been beneficial just in general, because a lot of it is the same information.
Right.
Right? At least from my perspective. One, I use it every day, but on top of that, I'm doing the same demo each time. But kind of like to your point is everybody who's using it or on there is at a different point. And, whenever you first got on, you had never used it before, probably had never even seen what it was before.
Right.
But you've continued to get on them, say, each month. And as you've gotten licensed and more comfortable and doing things online and submitting and quoting, each time and each month, you're at a different spot.
Right.
That is like, oh, you know what? Maybe I completely missed this one part last time, but because we're doing them, consistently every single month, then now I'm picking up on something else, and it's further enhancing like your experience and your knowledge and your comfortability with it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's really good to hear, just like from my perspective too, because I know that they're working and I know that they're helping, right? Because like I said, like I do know the platform. I don't want to say like I don't need the training for it, but like I know how it works. I don't need to go and teach myself it. But, every agent is at a different spot. So it's good to hear that, especially for you, as, we've probably held like, 10 of them this year, that each one has given you value, even though like from my perspective, I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's definitely really cool to hear. I like that.
Well, I think we also knew it was coming, and you told me paper apps are going to go away. Yeah. So I kind of had to make myself, get familiar with it, so that was where I was. I knew I had to do this. And then when August 1st came, it was like, okay, jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, giving a little bit more background on that, we had a major carrier that we offered, not to necessarily name names or anything, but we had a major carrier that we offer back in April. So they gave a 3.5 month notice, which was great on their end. But they came out and said, hey, August 1st, we are no longer going to pay commissions on any applications that are submitted via paper. And, with that, we made sure that all of our agents were very well aware of that. I probably couldn't even tell you how many times we actually sent out the notices and things along those lines. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely coming, and they were the first, really probably the first ones to like actually do that and implement that. And, one, we wanted to make sure our agents were very well aware of that. And on top of that, wanted to make sure that, those trainings and demos were available for everybody as well to get on and, get comfortable with something like that, with the platform, the Connecture platform. So that way, by the time that rolled around, that you're just, hey, we're good. Yeah.
I think the first one went pretty well too.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. In fact, I sent you one email with a question. You're like, no, that's it. You're right. And I'm like, okay. Yep. Yeah. But the day I had to break that news to Dick, I was like, oh no, but no, he was good. He's like, okay, well, guess it is what it is.
He drags me kicking and screaming in
right.
21st century.
Good. Hey. Oh, well, right? Hey, it's a good time for you to be retired.
That's right.
That's what he says. That's what he says.
Another reason to get out.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. But then, so, from there, talking about those trainings, the one is that Connecture one all the time. We do that every month. And then I also do one just for the most part on like general Medicare topics.
Yes. That's been helpful too.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Has anything, if you can think back, I'm definitely putting you more on the spot on this one. Can you remember any of them in particular that may have potentially like stood out a little bit more than any of the others?
No, not so much stood out. I do like the one where you talked more about how you do the mailings and at the different however many months beforehand and how you do your mailings, similar to how we do our mailings. Yeah. So that was helpful of, how you guys are doing it, what you do, maybe kind of mimic that a little bit.
Yeah. So that one was definitely more like marketing focused, just in general.
Yes.
And for for a little bit more deeper insight into it, I'm not going to go into the specifics here, but it was basically like we're talking about different marketing tactics and things along those lines to go towards, say, somebody turning 65 with Medicare, and a specific way that you can go about actually, targeting them and essentially when to do that.
Yes.
So
kind of like a roadmap of when you should be contacting people, by mail, and kind of set that up so they know, that they're on track for it too.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you can think back, because this was definitely your decision at the time.
Okay.
I know you had talked with my grandfather and everything, and that's how you got started with us. Can you remember back then as to either A, like why you started with us? Do you remember like if there were other potential agencies that you could have went with at the time, and why we ended up coming with us then?
And there were other people, but we just your grandfather just very down to earth, and we just all loved him, and he took care of us. He always had an answer for us, and Ruth's been here I think for a long time, so Ruth has been really good to us, and it's
funny story a little bit about Ruth. So we were just talking, whenever you guys first got here, that my wife and I recently had a baby, be 12 weeks tomorrow, and whenever Ruth first started here, my mom was pregnant with me. And she would always joke with both of my parents that one day she was going to still be here and working for me. And, here we are 33 years later, and one, she's still here, and, two, I'm here, and, we're trying to, keep chugging along and taking the business to another level and everything. And it's just kind of funny how that's actually transpired. She jokes now that it's going to be the same thing with my son, but I don't think she's going to necessarily want to stick around for another 30 years.
Well, that says a lot for you guys too, that she's been here that long, and just kind of reinforces his decision to work with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been very fortunate with really most everybody that has worked with us and been employees here, that it's been a lot of longevity. Kim here, I mean, she's been here for 20-ish years now as well. I don't know, I off the top of my head I can't remember exactly. I always know Ruth because she talks about that story all the time. But I mean, we've been in the business since 1979, and you can only stick around this long, if you're doing something right.
Exactly right.
And you talk about the service that we've been able to offer you guys and everything. We wouldn't be here, I guess, if we weren't able to do that type of stuff.
Right.
So that's, I definitely appreciate you saying that. And everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
So no, absolutely. From there, and kind of dovetails a little bit into that in talking about the longevity aspect and things like that. From an outside perspective, right? You're not actually employees of National Insurance Markets or anything. You guys work as 1099 agents. But from the outside perspective, like how would you, potentially describe like the leadership aspect here at National Insurance Markets?
I mean, you always keep us up on all the technology stuff, that's for sure. And you just do a great job of helping us out when we have problems. And it's just a pleasure to work with you guys.
Yeah. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
How about from your perspective?
I would say the same, and just in case we ever miss anything, we're always getting emails, from you. We get them from, the carriers, but we also get them from you to make sure we see everything, we're up to date, and that helps, because you don't ever want to miss anything that's important.
Yeah.
So definitely. And just like I think it's amazing too. Like when one of you are out, the other one, somebody else is checking your email and getting us. We don't have to wait a whole week, to get a response. It's like, hey, Matt's on vacation, but I'm on it for you. So that's really great.
We really do try to make sure that we're being, as responsive as we possibly can, within reason. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Just as anybody else would, right? But yeah, I mean, because we don't exist without you guys. We don't exist without our agents out there going and selling our products and everything. So, we have to make sure that we're there for you in really any way that we possibly can.
Right. And sometimes there's a time crunch, and you can't wait a week or, but anything we've ever needed has always been at least a 24-hour turnaround, if not less, sometimes same day. Yeah. So it's great.
That's definitely good to hear. One, that you guys have liked that aspect. Two, that we've, truly been able to actually, provide that for you just in general. So thinking back even, back to whenever, not necessarily when you first started, because really it might not have even actually been available then, but you started off in health insurance as well, right? Mm-hmm. How did you get started in the Medicare space in particular?
Well, I think being in the health insurance business is kind of natural to go into the Medicare business, kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I was around when they first brought Medicare Advantage plans out.
Yep.
So that
back in 2006.
Yep, that was a big deal. And you looked at the plan, it's like, I can't believe this is the real plan. It's $20 a month, I think it was, that Security Blue, and all these benefits you get with it. So it's like, they better start marketing it. So
it's completely different back then, right?
It worked out very well for us.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that. Obviously, nothing necessarily specific or anything, but how has the Medicare market and offering Medicare in general been able to help your business overall?
I think that's the biggest part of our business now is Medicare.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the group plans have kind of went by the wayside a little bit our way, and we just like doing the Medicare. It's just something we like to do. Yeah. So we've built quite a bit of book of business with our agency, and we're kind of the Medicare people of our way. So
it's a good spot to be in. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. In a little area like that.
I'm sure you guys see it all the time, right? I mean, people talk. In this business in particular.
Yes, we get referrals.
In this industry.
Like every week, people are calling that we have no idea where they came from. But we try to ask them, and a referral from some of our other clients, and it's been a very, very good business for us.
Yeah, and talking about the referral aspect, right? I mean, that only works if you guys are providing the right service on your end and doing the right thing for them, making sure that they're getting into the correct plan for something that fits, their specific needs. Right. They're only going to tell people that if you're doing that on the front end. Right. Right. And one thing that we see, and I talk about and preach here all the time, especially with new agents, is like, this is not a 1 year thing. Like that is not the goal of Medicare here. So like anybody who's out there listening or thinking about that, like, you need to come in with a long-term perspective here. And long-term, even just like, look at a minimum 3-5 years, 5, 7 years down the road, because that's what we're building towards. Right. I mean, you've been around much longer than that, but so, I mean, you've been able to see it snowball, and I like to use that term a lot, is just the snowball effect there, because that's what you're building. You're building for that renewal and residual book of business. Because, hey, the longer that business stays on the books, just keeps snowballing every single year.
You're right.
And, that's what we want in this business. Right. It's not the year one, front end commissions at that point to grind every single year. Yes, we're still trying to grow. Right. Right. But we're trying to build it for long term.
Right.
So, he usually has a goal each year of however many new people. Yeah. But it's surprising too how many people under 65 don't realize that we also do Medicare. Mm-hmm. So we're enrolling people that maybe necessarily don't realize it. They're retiring at 62. Mm-hmm. And we also make sure they're aware that in a few years, hey, when you can't be on Penny any longer, we'll help you transition into Medicare too. Yeah. And that builds it too. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. I mean, offering it, the ACA individual insurance or family insurance is a huge pipeline. to build that future for, not to mention you're getting paid on those policies too.
Right.
But you're building up the future pipeline for Medicare and everything as well.
Yes.
So outside of whenever you're talking to them and enrolling somebody at whatever age it is, right? 60, 62, 63. What do you guys do to kind of let them know that, hey, we don't just do this? Because a lot of people do think that, right? Is whatever you talk to them about that time, that's the only thing that you do, right?
Right. We kind of tell them that, we'll be on this till you turn 65, and then we'll help you, because we specialize in Medicare plans too. We'll help you transition into that.
Yeah.
And they're kind of relieved because they don't know what's going on with the Medicare industry, and say, we'll help you simplify it. And I think they feel good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the whole goal, right? I think at least is the simplification aspect of the entire process.
Yes.
Right.
That's one thing I've always thought of and loved about this industry is it's really, to me, it's all about education and letting somebody know, hey, you're retiring at X age, or you're turning 65 soon in X amount of months, right? Here's the process of what we're going to do, and let me just guide you through this.
Right.
And here I will, educate you on everything that you'll need to know. Let's just take this step by step, and we'll make this as simple as we possibly can.
That's the best thing you can do.
Right. And from there, the gratification aspect, that you get, I'm sure you guys see it all the time, is just incredible, right? Because they just are looking for somebody to really just guide them through that.
Yeah, they're very confused, and it shouldn't be that way.
Right?
Right.
It's a confusing topic, and things change all the time. Things change every single year.
Yeah.
We were just talking again before we turned the mics on today about there's some big changes coming up for 2026. And, again, not to get into any of those specifics right here, but, there's a lot going on in the industry right now. And there's some bigger changes coming that are going to affect a lot of agents. And everybody needs to make sure, that they're staying on top of it. So, anybody out there too, if you're listening and you're going to be in that same scenario, please let us know. We're happy to kind of walk you through what those changes are and how we can possibly help you through that transition and everything too. Yeah. Because again, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big for us. It's gonna be big for you guys and a number of other agents out there too. So we want to make sure that everybody is getting out in front of it and making sure that they're doing right by their clients, because in the end, it affects everybody, but they're the ones who are getting affected generally the most at the end. It's always the end consumer,
Well, I think that's what most of our clients appreciate too, is the fact that we stay in touch with them. Mm-hmm. We don't just write their policy and that's it. Every fall we stay in touch with our Medicare clients, and prior to someone turning 65, we're sending them a letter saying, hey, reminder, you're coming up on 65. You're probably getting inundated with mail and callings. Yep. Let us know, and we'll help you, guide you into that process. So that's the other thing I think our clients really like, is they hear from us, and that's important.
Yeah. Well, because then, you're just staying top of mind. Right. You're staying on top of their mind, because otherwise it's, again, out of sight, out of mind.
That's right.
Right. Exactly. So you want to make sure that you're sticking with them and letting them know, hey, we are here for you. Right. And again, you guys aren't in necessarily the huge metropolitan area. Our office is right outside of Pittsburgh. But you're not in the Pittsburghs or Philadelphia area. No. You're not even that far away from here, really. But it's a completely different area. Yeah. So they love that local support. Right. They're used to that local support, right? Yep. And you guys continuing to reach out to them all the time, I'm sure, goes a long way. And that's why you said right from the beginning, right? You've kind of become that Medicare agency. Yeah. In that area, because people know you, and you're reaching out to them and letting them know and doing the right thing.
Yeah, if we don't do it, somebody else will. So you got to stay on top of it and let them know you're there for them.
Absolutely, because Medicare is one of those probably few things that you have to do something, right?
Right.
Just like you said, like you're gonna have to get it somewhere.
Yep.
So if you're in the insurance industry and it doesn't even matter if like that's your focus, it is the Medicare aspect. Like if you're a property and casualty agent or a life insurance agent and you're not offering Medicare, like there's an absolute chance that once that client turns 65 and they go elsewhere, the other parts of your book of business that you have with them could be going elsewhere too.
Right.
Because that is one of those few things that, they have to make a decision.
They do.
So it's best, hey, why not? Yes, it takes some time to get used to everything and learn the products and everything. That's why we, have our training sessions and whatnot. Right. And I've actually kind of started doing a new 6-week, I don't want to say boot camp, but like a 6-week training session for any new agents out there. I take everybody week by week and go through different aspects of that and kind of start from the very beginning, train them up and whatnot. And so that way, they can start offering something like that.
Right.
So, I think it's huge for any insurance agent.
They'll probably appreciate that too. I mean, they don't have anybody else to go to out there.
Right. Yeah. Because, there's definitely bigger agencies out there that realistically, if you are just, they don't want someone necessarily like just starting out. Right. They want someone who's well established and knows what they're doing. So it's almost just like turnkey, right? They're just like, all right, just come in right under us and just kind of go and do your thing, and then we'll just collect on the back end, right? Yep. That's definitely not us, right? Like we talked at the very beginning. It doesn't matter where you're at here,
right?
But we'll definitely take anybody right from the get go and get them going and get them trained up, and it's gratifying on our end too to see that aspect, right? It's like starting from ground zero and seeing where they're at, a couple years down the road, especially those that really, make the leap and jump into it and put in the time and effort.
Yep.
It's awesome. We have so many agents that we talk to and work with that, come to us a couple years down the road that we beat up for years to be like, hey, you need to be offering Medicare. Because the same type of thing, right? We don't just offer Medicare, like I mentioned. We have other products and everything. Not everybody does everything.
Right.
We can't be everything to everyone either.
That's right.
But we definitely try to get as many as we possibly can writing with Medicare. And the amount of times that we've had agents come back to us and be like, I should have started this sooner. Yeah. I should have started. You were right, type of thing. Like, not to beat our own chest with that, or but like they're 5 years later and they're just getting started, and it's like 2 or 3 years into that part of the business, and they're like, man, I wish I would have started 5 years ago whenever you were first bringing it up.
Yep.
We see it all the time.
But
we see it all the time.
That's what's nice, because you come across as you want us to succeed. Mm-hmm. So if we succeed, you succeed.
Correct.
And that's just, and we were just talking on the way down, that, and you just said you have so many other agents, but when we have a problem or a question, we never feel like we're just one of 30. You're focused on us at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what's really nice is you're dedicated to helping us get through whatever's going on.
Correct.
So if we succeed, you succeed. And that's what you've always portrayed.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall, like, our business is win-win-win.
Right.
If you guys are doing well, that means that we're doing well. Right. But if you guys are doing well, that means your clients are doing well too. Because you wouldn't be doing well if you weren't doing the right thing with your clients. So in the end there, like, everybody's winning, right?
Right.
It's not just, us and you guys. Like, it truly is still, in the end, it's about the client, making sure that we're doing the right thing for the client from the very beginning. And if you do that, then it's going to come back around and it's going to help.
That's right. No matter what, make sure you do the right thing for the client and it'll come back around for you.
Yeah. 100%. I could not agree more. Yeah. That's why I love the education aspect.
Yes,
really.
Definitely.
This is not a hard sell. Like, you're just out there educating on what's going on and what the process is. And here are your options. Let's figure out what's going to work best for you. You know?
Yeah, because we don't really do a lot of marketing. You know, we get almost 95% is just referrals from happy clients.
Yeah.
You know, and that's makes us happy.
Well, I mean, that's a testament, right? One, the longevity for you guys. You know, you've been in the industry for a number of years now. So one, you're comfortable with the products, you know how the system works. So you can guide people through that. Obviously, not everybody's at that same point where they're getting all of the referrals and can rely on that. But, you know, for anybody out there, like, it can end up being a huge source, you know, and again, you just keep working and doing what you're doing, whether it's working your current book of business to start off with. That's what we always start with everybody, right? They're already your client. You know, why wouldn't you start with them?
Trusted you to buy one thing, and
correct.
Might as well trust you to do the rest. If you can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why not? Right? Exactly what you said right there. I mean, 100%. So on top of that, and this might be a little bit of a redundant question. So if it is, forgive me. But, you know, kind of going back a little bit to the trainings aspect and everything, how do you think, and this is really for you, Karen, in particular, is like, you know, the Medicare, penny, connecture, all of that, outside of the comfortability aspect, like, how do you think that's been able to, you know, grow your guys' business and kind of, you know, help keep it growing, fostering the relationships, all that type of stuff?
I mean, especially with a connecture, you know, whenever the Medicare donut hole went away and we were able to put in people's medications and see real time what they're going to actually pay, that was huge for our clients, you know, and that really kept them happy because there was too much guesswork before. And, you know, you weren't sure, you couldn't tell them, okay, if you went with this plan, exactly how much you're going to pay. So that education in itself and that platform was huge. And Dick would be meeting with people and he would have them bring in their prescriptions and I would be sitting over there putting them in and I'd be like, okay, this plan is going to be better for them than this plan. And he's like, yeah, I see that. We're going to go with this side. And they appreciated that honesty. You know, some people came in totally wanting something completely different, but whenever they gave us their list of medications, it was like, oh, that's not going to work out. And they appreciate that honesty there, you know, or whenever somebody comes in and thinks they want to stay or they want to go with us, but honestly, you know, like maybe they were a retired teacher or whatever. They appreciated the honesty if we told them, no, I think you better stay where you are at. That's a better fit for you.
I love what you had just said there too, is just because it goes back to, you know, the longevity aspect for everything here, but doing right by the client is not forcing something that doesn't need to be there just to get paid.
Right.
You know, like, you are truly doing the right thing for that client. And like, I think that's awesome for you guys. And everybody now knows that, you know, everybody knows that about your business is that, you know, Richmond Insurance is here. They're going to do the right thing for you. And they will honestly tell me if where I'm at is the best thing right now. Versus just, you know, forcing me into a policy just so they get the business and they can get paid.
He just had a couple like that recently, you know, where we didn't write them because they were better off where they were but they appreciated his time and, you know, and I think that's one thing that everybody loves about Dick is he'll come to you, you know, he'll come and sit down and talk to you.
We do a lot of home and evening appointments, so it's kind of spoil them a little bit.
Right.
You gotta do that. So that's part of the business.
Hey, I did it whenever I first started. You know, I've definitely been in the houses. I've seen the good and the bad and the ugly and all of it. I've been through it all. I don't do as many anymore now at this point. I've kind of transitioned that aspect. Just, you know, that's just also been, we talk about Connecture, right? And we talk about all these other trainings and things along those lines and different resources that we have available now. I know you guys have seen like the book that I've written called The Medicare Manor that, helps agents, but also with clients with, learning about the basics of Medicare. And, I have a video series on it now as well. I also made like a little learnings games, little thing that somebody can go and follow up with on it. And, I have all these different resources that has helped my process with it, right? So it's sometimes it puts a little bit more onus on the client, but it also gives them different resources that they can use as well, versus, just having to try to figure it all out on their own. But they can do it on their own time too.
Absolutely.
They don't have to be holden to a 2 or 3 hour appointment anymore. Because I used to do all of that at one time, right? Go in and teach them everything and then also talk to them about the plans too.
Right.
Now it's more of like this is the documented process, so to speak. I'm going to take you along this journey. This is how we're going to do it. And, that's something that I teach like in that 6-week training course and whatnot too. It's like, hey, this is exactly what I do. If you follow this along, one, you're going to be able to do it similarly to me as well. But it's not like mine's not always necessarily the best for everyone, right? But it at least gives people a starting point.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives them a guideline, and then they can deviate however it works for them.
Correct.
But something that stuck with me is whenever you said about your Medicare Manor book, like you would leave it places, like you would leave it in the barbershop, or you would leave it in the salon or whatever. And people would pick that up and be like, what is this? And they'd start reading, and then cards inside. And that was just a different way of marketing that maybe some people didn't think about. You're reaching different people. Maybe some of the older folks don't use Facebook or don't get online.
Correct.
And you're reaching them in a completely different way. So that's another nice thing with you guys. You throw different ideas at us that maybe help us grow.
Yeah, because I've made that available to our agents now as well. So like our agents are actually able to use my book, put their name on it as the author and everything, and really actually use it as their own. And do, very similar types of things, whether that's, leaving at different locations and whatnot, barbershops, businesses, different businesses, but also then, sending it out to their clients, same type of thing, right? Is the 62-year-old, the 63-year-old, the 64-year-old as like hey, here's just that additional resource that, you're going to get that stack of mail that's this high, but, mine's not just that letter or just that postcard. It's here's this book that I have that is not that long, but it has the essential information in it. It's large print font as well. So the seniors can read it. It's bullet point style, so it's not just wall of text and everything too. And the feedback that I've gotten on it, one, just with what you had given me there, but like everybody else has seemed to really enjoy it as well and get a lot of good information on it, and I've definitely had a lot of good feedback on it.
Yeah, it's just
awesome.
A very unique idea that you came up with, and that was great. And then to offer it to your agent, that's just one more thing.
Correct.
One more thing you offer us.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Outside of that, I don't have anything else for you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys both coming in. Dick, congratulations again on the retirement at the end of this year.
Thanks.
Just congratulations to a fantastic career. And Karen, obviously, I've loved working with you. We're going to continue that relationship. Best wishes with taking everything over starting in the new year. You know that we're here for you with that entire transition and moving forward. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to episode 3. Stay tuned for more to come.